Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer. Because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
You're listening to your radio homes for the Megacast 89.3 WBL, the Orchard Lake, and 88.1 WBFH, Bloomfield Hills. Today's edition of the Megacast begins now. Welcome to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show. I'm Tyler Keefe. Today we'll be talking to a number of people about topics of interest and importance to Michiganders like you. Let's begin on our website at civiccentertv.com. On our local news page, there we have resources from the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division on COVID-19 and other important topics. We also have local news stories from across the state of Michigan that you can find there as well each and every day. And let's begin with those headlines today and what's making news across the state of Michigan. First off comes from our friends at the Detroit News and Karen Buford, the author of this article. The state added 12,414 cases of COVID-19 over the past week, with 173 of those being deaths. The Michigan Department of Health and Human Services announced on Tuesday. Michigan reported an average of about 1,773 cases per day over the last 7 days. That is a 1% decrease from the daily average of 1,793 cases per day a week ago. So down about 20 cases per day over that week. On Monday, the state reported 1,051 adults as well as 23 pediatric patients were hospitalized with confirmed COVID-19 infections. That's an increase, of course, from last week's 978 adults and a decrease from 24 children a week ago. Inpatient records were set on January 10th when 4,580 adults were hospitalized with COVID-19. On Monday, Michigan had about 5.8% of the state's hospital beds filled with COVID-19 patients. That compares with 24% of hospital beds being full and 2,889 daily emergency room visits due to COVID in the first week of 2022. Read that full article from Karen Buford on our website at civiccentertv.com on our local news page. Also making headlines today from the Detroit Free Press and Teresa Baldas, their reporter there. A judge is warning the Oakland County prosecutor about bad-mouthing James and Jennifer Crumbly, the parents of the alleged Oxford high school shooter, so as to not taint the jury pool. When it comes to how many victims were harmed at the deadly Oxford high school shooting, the judge agrees with the prosecution. Quote, "There are certainly far more than 4, end close quote," the judge wrote in a court order on Tuesday, referring to the number of students who were killed in the massacre, but certainly recognizing that more than just those 4 individuals were affected by the massacre on that day in November a year ago. But the judge showed some defense to the parents of the shooting suspect, James and Jennifer Crumbly, who alleged that the prosecutor is still bad-mouthing them publicly despite an existing gag order by emailing case updates to more than 1,800 registered victims. Recently landing on Facebook, those updates they say contain, quote, highly prejudicial, and closed quote, comments about them. Oakland County Circuit Judge Cheryl Matthews wrote in her order addressing the bulk email, quote, "The prosecutor's office should reasonably have known that an email sent to close to 2,000 victims could be disseminated to the media," and close quote. Judge Matthews went on to raise concerns about the impact of the contents of the mass email that may have and what they may have on jury selection for the ultimate trial that will eventually start for James and Jennifer Crumbly, who are the first parents in America to be charged in connection to a mass shooting connected to their teenage son, at the time 15, now 16, Ethan Crumbly, who was charged with bringing a gun to school that day and, of course, killing 4 of his classmates and injuring several other people. The Crumblies, meanwhile, argue Oakland County prosecutor Karen McDonald is tainting the jury pool, alleging she alleging that she has constantly disseminated false and inflammatory information about them, and did so on September 15th in an email that went out to those 1,800 and some odd addresses. Judge Matthews took issue with the email, noting that, quote, a portion of it, quote, insinuates that the defendants have a duty to come forth with evidence and or that the family, the Crumbleys, carry a burden of proof, and closed quote. That full article with much more details on this, and of course the warnings coming from the Oakland County Circuit Court judge in that case toward the prosecutor's office regarding this information that's being disseminated to the public, particularly to victims of the Oxford High School shooting and their families, about the family of the alleged shooter, can be found on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. Finally, making headlines today from MLive and their reporter Mark Torregrosa. Snow is shifting to the lower part of Michigan. How and where to expect accumulations from the snowstorm that, of course, continues on this week, and the snow accumulations that continue on this week that certainly impacted the Upper Peninsula with well over a foot of snow in some places. The storm system will send at least 2 more rounds of steady precipitation across lower Michigan during the colder time of the night. Some of this precipitation will be accumulating snow as well. The snow accumulations project across lower Michigan will be fairly brief. The ground temperatures are still in the 40s. Snow will pile up in colder, higher elevations and locations 20 miles away from any Great Lake. Once the burst of snow stops, the heat from below will quickly melt that snow, and so it's not expected to have an accumulating effect on roads or on the ground necessarily. Some may stick depending on the volume, but not necessarily going to be quite near the accumulation we see on the ground in the Upper Peninsula. All of us in lower Michigan will probably see snowflakes in the air. Only some of us will see that snow stick on the ground or any meaningful vision of the coming winter. The areas of lower Michigan that will get accumulating snow are interior, northern, lower peninsula, higher elevations, and the highest ridges of the thumb. The high elevations in Oakland County could also get a dusting of accumulation last night, and through Wednesday this morning. Let's look at the 2 weather models most accurate in the situation and what meteorologists at the National Weather Service are saying for snow amounts. If you can look at those models, of course, can be found in this article. You'll see mostly accumulating in northern Michigan, heaviest snow, of course, being in the northern lower peninsula, with a little bit of less severe accumulation, certainly in northern Michigan and through the thumb and parts of Oakland County, certainly the northern parts, as was disseminated earlier on in this article, going to get more of a dusting than other parts with the snow. That being said, temperatures are in about the 40s for most of the day, and the lows being in the high 30s, so not likely going to be at a temperature where that snow will accumulate on the ground and will most likely just melt, given that we still are very early in the fall season and not quite into those colder temperatures of the year that cool the ground and make snow more likely to accumulate on the ground. That's all of our headlines today on CivicCenterTV.com's local news page. You can find more information on all those headlines there, as well as helpful links to COVID-19 information from the Centers for Disease Control, the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, as well as the Oakland County Health Division. We have a great show ahead on this Wednesday edition of the Megacast. Coming up next, we'll talk to Sally Jo Levine and Marilyn Sabin from the National Council of Jewish Women. Coming up next, you're watching and listening to the Megacast.
Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
I'm feeling good.
Let's savor these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the dining out going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Let's relish these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the festivals going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date. Can I ask you a question? Why do you want to get the COVID-19 vaccine?
I don't like getting sick. The virus will die. It will be easy to not catch it. Keep my family safe and keep playing soccer because I love being vaccinated.
What's your hope for everyone?
I hope everybody gets the vaccine to keep safe and strong. Be happy, having fun everywhere. Everyone stay safe and hope you get the vaccine.
Let's whoop it up for these moments, made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the cheering going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Welcome back to the Megacast, our live local daily TV, radio, and streaming show talking about all things Michigan. I'm Tyler Kieft. Learn more about our program on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast, where you'll find more information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV, and find all of our full shows and individual interviews on demand. Joining us now are a couple of women from the National Council of Jewish Women. Joining us today, Sally Jo Levine is the president of the National Council of Jewish Women of Michigan, and Marilyn Sabin is a volunteer with Kosher Meals on Wheels. Thank you both for joining us today.
Thank you.
So we're having wanted to talk about the upcoming Women of Vision benefit luncheon being put on by the National Council of Jewish Women on October 26th. That is a week from today. That's next week, Wednesday. Sally Jo, tell us about this event and why it's important to your organization, as well as how people can participate.
Okay, excuse me, Women of Vision is an annual fundraising event. We honor people in our community that have made a difference, are making a difference. We bring in a well-known speaker, but most important, we honor people who honor us. Marilyn Sabin being one of them, who's one of the honorees this year. And we have Carrie Kushner, who is also being honored, and then we have Carolyn Krieger from CKC Advertising Agency, Public Relations Agency. But our speaker this year, our national speaker, is Juju Chang, who is on Nightline, Good Morning America, ABC News.
And it's a great event too to recognize some of the great community service that's being done by your organization and others that are partnering with your organization and others doing great volunteer work. So for people that want to participate in this event, how can they go about doing that? And is there still availability, being that this is a week out?
Absolutely. They can call the National Council of Jewish National Council of Jewish Women office at 248-355-3300 and ask about tickets. You can get a ticket to the event. You can have a ticket for the whole day, which includes lunch also, and a meet and greet with the honorees that we have this year. But it's not too early. It's not too late.
And more information, of course, can be found on the website as well. Again, that event coming up next week, Wednesday, October 26th. Registration is happening from 9:30 to 11:45. Boutiques are open 9:30 to 3:30. Meet and greet with Juju Chang is 10:45 until 11:30 a.m. And then 11:45 onwards will be the awards, the guest speakers, lunch, and more. Information can be found on ncjwmi.org, ncjwmi.org for more information. And there's several different donation levels beginning at $54. Again, NCJW, or National Council of Jewish Women, MI. So for Michigan.org for more of that information. We have one of the awardees also with us. Marilyn Sabin from Kosher Meals on Wheels is with us on this program today too. You'll be recognized as one of the winners of the recipients of the Josephine S. Weiner Award for Community Service. And this will be awarded to you and Carrie Kushner at this event coming up next week. So Marilyn, tell us about your involvement with Kosher Meals on Wheels, when that started, and why you spend your time volunteering for that organization.
Kosher Meals on Wheels will be 50 years old next year. I was fortunate enough to be involved with it the very first year. I was a packer. And by that, I mean, we have people come in early in the morning to pack 2 meals a day for delivery by volunteers that come later to pick up the meals for us. For 7 years, I did it 50 years ago, and then I went to work full time. And when I retired, it was National Council has always been very special to me. And so I went back to volunteer with Kosher Meals on Wheels. And I'm still doing it today.
So what keeps you going in this volunteering? You've been doing this for a number of years. This organization obviously helps so many people that are food insecure or just in need of food in their home that maybe they're not able to get themselves. So what keeps you going in this role as a volunteer for Kosher Meals on Wheels?
Just providing a service to the community that is needed, and it makes you feel fulfilled, that you're doing something worthwhile, especially after you're retired. So
Yeah, one of the better ways to spend your retirement is giving back to your community, and we certainly appreciate all the work that you're doing, Marilyn, to do that with Kosher Meals on Wheels. Sally Jo, going back to you, recognizing these volunteers with this particular award and with other awards at this event you're holding next week, Wednesday, for your organization, what is the importance of recognizing these volunteers and the people that are contributing not only to your organization, but the partnering organizations all throughout our local area and across Michigan?
We partner with a lot of organizations for a lot of different reasons. But I think that when people volunteer, they take time out of their life to do something for someone else. And National Council of Jewish Women believes in bettering the lives of women, children, and families. And most of the programs that we do have to do with bettering lives. And the fact that we have people who willingly come and join us, whether they're part of our organization or a partnering organization, it makes the world a better place. Very honestly, very crazy, but it's true. I read something today about when you retire, you need to start doing service. And many of these women have been doing service for 40 and 50 years. But doing service makes you a better person. It also makes the person that you're working with a better person. And we love it. We believe in it.
And Marilyn, from your perspective, as an avid volunteer before and now during your retirement, what do you have to say to those that are looking to get into volunteering or looking to maybe occupy their time in their retirement, and speak to why volunteering is so fulfilling for you, but also such a great way to give back to your community?
It gives your life structure. It makes you feel good. it makes you feel like you're contributing to society, that I would recommend it for anybody, whether they're retired or not.
Yeah, it's a great way to get involved in your community, meet some like-minded people that want to contribute and give back to those in their local area, and do something good for your community as well. We'll recognize more of these volunteers at the Women of Vision event that's happening next week, Wednesday. You can find more information on the National Council of Jewish Women's website at ncjwmi.org. That's ncjwmi.org for more information. That is happening Wednesday, October 26th at the Adat Shalom Synagogue on Middlebelt Road in Farmington Hills. Women of Vision is the name of the event. The festivities begin in the morning and go all throughout the morning, including from 11:45 onwards, where they'll be awarding many of these volunteers, including Marilyn Sabin, who's with us on today's edition of the Megacast, and so many other great people doing great things in the community. It's also a great lunch and a raffle as well. More information again, ncjwmi.org. Registration begins at 9:30 a.m. for this event next week, Wednesday. Let's go back to you, Sally Jo, just for a few more minutes with you today. Sally Jo Levine, the president of the National Council of Jewish Women of Michigan. Tell us more about your organization and other things you have coming up. And if people can't attend this event next week, Wednesday, what are some other ways that they can get involved?
We do a tremendous amount of advocacy, getting out the vote, things that we truly believe in. We have programs that are enjoyable. We have programs that are informative. We do a back to school store where 900 children get new clothing, school supplies, and 2 books. We do a backpack project that we give backpacks to kids in Oakland County. We do children's guardianship cases. I mean, there's something for everyone. If you have any interest at all in getting involved, we've got a program that we can put you into, let you enjoy it, bring your friends. We are open for anyone who wants to come and join us in what we do. We have 2 books that we have. One's called Teen Yellow Pages, one's called 313 Baby. This one is for Oakland County. This one is for Detroit. So there's so many things that we do, and we welcome your interest and your involvement.
More information, again, can be found ncjwmi.org. And again, the Women of Vision event is happening at the Adat Shalom Synagogue in Farmington Hills, 9:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. for the festivities. Wednesday, October 26th, 2022. Go to the website ncjwmi.org to find more information, as well as to register and join them for a featured speaker, being the Emmy Award-winning co-anchor of ABC's Nightline and regular contributor to Good Morning America, as well as ABC's 2020, Juju Chang, and celebrate many of the great volunteers in our local area, including Marilyn Sabin from Kosher Meals on Wheels, who's been with us today as well. Sally Jo, Marilyn, we thank you so much for joining us. And Marilyn, congratulations on your honor at this event, and thank you for your volunteerism.
Thank you.
Again, more information on this event, and you can celebrate the great volunteers in our community by joining them at Women of Vision. That event can be found on ncjwmi.org to get tickets and attend next week, Wednesday, October 26th, 9:30 a.m. until 3:30 p.m. We're going to continue on right here on the Megacast. One of our great partners of our co-flagship, My Michigan TV, is the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. As we get ready to go into the holidays, it's important as you prepare those meals and those appetizers for yourself and your family that you do so safely, and they have a number of great training videos to help you prepare and to serve food safely in your home this Thanksgiving season. Let's take a look at one of those training sessions.
Hi, I'm Laura.
And I'm Jake. And we're going to talk about whether you're prepared for the holidays. We cover the fun do's and the fun don'ts.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
There really
One of
is.
the lovely things about doing those special holidays and those special family gatherings is we like to pull out all the family heirlooms and use them. But sometimes that can be a real problem. So you need to make sure that whatever you're using is actually food grade. Should you actually put cocktail sauce on there? Those kinds of situations. Because we have had that happen to us where you had a beautiful boards done, but you put it on a silver platter, and then that became a real issue.
Yep, turns that tarnish real
Right,
quick,
and
doesn't it?
turns the meat green, so that's
Yeah.
never a good thing. So lots of lovely things that I have pulled out of my cabinets that are hand-me-downs, great grandma sorts of things. So it really is. What are we going to use?
Yeah. Speaking of fond do's and fond don'ts, look at this thing. This thing's amazing. That thing's way older than I am. She's beautiful. But
Yeah.
I'm not sure what this is made out of. Do you have any idea?
I really don't. I don't believe that that's actual silver.
Look, it feels really light. It
Yeah.
might be zinc or
Yeah.
something.
What I'm concerned about more is the actual bowl too,
Yeah.
because I don't actually know. It's a stoneware of some kind, but what would I put in it, right? If I put something acidic in there, is it going to leach out?
Right. What's in the glaze?
Yeah.
The paint.
And this has the candle that keeps it hot, which is kind of a fun thing to be able to use. But I know I can't put this in the oven or it will shatter. So
Right.
that can be a real problem too. This is a lovely little, actually was a wedding present, which is so lovely. But again, I would love to use this for nuts or something like
Yeah.
that. But with all the tarnish, of course, it's kind of ugly at this point in time.
Well, and even if you polished it up, as soon as you put something acidic in there, it could go really fast.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to be careful about what you're actually going to put in here.
Mhm.
Right. Nuts
Something
or
that's
candy
wrapped.
might be okay.
Yeah. Like a wrapped
Yeah.
candy.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
That would be very pretty.
Yeah.
Of course.
And this one's cool too. Is this pewter?
Yes.
Looks like pewter to me.
Yeah.
It's very heavy. But pewter, I mean, that leaches too, correct?
Yeah.
So
The
couldn't
deal,
use this
yeah.
either.
The deal with pewter, obviously acidic goes in there,
Mhm.
but hot on there, it
Yeah.
also produces a gas. And neither one of those are things you want for your food.
Yeah.
I love to use all the pretty bowls. And a lot of us pick up these bowls all the time, and then we're going to use it for tomato salad or
Right.
one of those fun things. But should you?
One, it's painted, so it's very misleading, but it could totally have lead in it, right? I mean, and then you're worried about leaching lead into your food.
Yeah.
And lead's no bueno.
It really is one of those, take a look at it. Is
Yeah.
it really for food?
And be confident about what it's made out of. Because if you're
Mhm.
not sure, the risk is there.
Right.
Yeah. This
Yeah.
one's beautiful. I would love to turn this into a shrimp cocktail dish. But knowing that it's not really a food contact surface, I think it'd probably be best if we didn't. The center part's beautiful and glass, so I'm sure that's safe.
Right.
But the outside, you'd have to have little cups or something in like a muffin tin or something that's going to be a barrier between the platter and the food. And then there's this one, this
Mm-hmm. I
copper bowl.
love this.
Isn't it so cool?
Finding copper bowls now is very, very difficult.
Yeah.
And they used to use them all the time for whipping up the egg whites,
Right,
right? Copper
right.
is really, really good for that. But would I actually put food in it? And as you could tell,
Little
copper
tarnish.
gets all that nice little tarnish in there.
I actually love the tarnish. It's so pretty.
The tarnish is great.
Yeah.
But
Look
what
at the
would
Statue of Liberty.
but-
She's beautiful.
but what would I put in it? That's kind of the big conversation. So making sure that, yes, great grandma's coming and you want to show off the stuff that she's handed down to you, but
Mhm.
let's do it in a really good way. It has to be the conversation that
Well,
we
I think
deal
if
with
you were
here.
really dead set on using something like this or even this pewter bowl, you could put a cloth napkin in it and put your dinner rolls in
Yeah.
it or something like that. As long as you're not utilizing this as a food contact surface, you'll be safe.
Yeah, that's a really good way, using rolls or crackers or something
Mhm.
like that. That's a good way. And then you
Yeah.
can put a festive cloth in there. That
Grandma
would be
will love it.
perfect.
Yeah.
Certainly. So
Fond don'ts, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
decorating your table is lovely, but making sure you do it
Yeah.
safe is always the conversation.
Absolutely.
Well, Jake, I've got the table ready to go. Appetizers, everything's ready to go. What do you think?
I think it looks great. I'm really loving your Persilla. That's not a name. Persilla
Stop it.
centerpiece.
I know. Here's the big problem with cats and dogs, especially cats.
Cats.
If you preset your table, you may have, and I have had this number of times, where you've got the extra little something going on with your food,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and
Or-
with kitty litter boxes. I'm pretty
yeah.
iffy.
Well, and they get up on counters and like the butter and all kinds of
Yeah.
different things. So being safe with pets is a big conversation.
Absolutely.
Setting out appetizers, it's a great way to go. But
How long have they been out?
I know that's the thing. A lot of times we set out those appetizers at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then you're eating at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
Yeah.
And you're leaving things like shrimp and especially sushi
Yeah.
out for that long of a period of time. And then you wonder why all your family gets sick.
I think a great way is to pull things out in kind of a sequential order, right? So that you're pulling things out as you need them rather than just setting it out and having everybody graze throughout the day and abusing that time and temperature
Yeah.
that really makes the risk of eating something like shrimp or sushi risky.
Well, doing it in small batches too.
Yeah.
Stoneware like that can be cooled before you put it in there, which helps keep that temperature control.
Right.
But doing a small batch, if you've got 20 people coming for a meal, right? We like to set everything out in the first place because it looks like we have lots of food. So help
Mhm.
yourself. But in the long run, that can really be an issue. And when I'm going to bring out something fresh, like my ranch dressing,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring out a fresh container, not pour some ranch in there. Because
Right.
again, that's a time and temperature sort of a situation. Don't pour the new on the old because then you're
Right.
going to run into some serious issues.
When
Another
there's no way for it to stay cold.
right.
Yeah.
Another issue here is, and this is one of my pet peeves with my family, is use the utensils, right?
Yeah. Don't dig into those
Yeah.
shrimp with your fingies.
Yeah. And you really do want to have a utensil for each different thing. Not that you have a buffet with 2 or 3 tongs that people are digging in and out. And people have allergens. If I've got somebody who's allergic to
Mhm.
shrimp and you use those tongs over here on the vegetables, then I can have some serious problems there also.
Yeah.
So it
Well,
is
and
a
with
big
the
deal.
way allergens are ticking up anymore, everybody's family has at least somebody that's getting to be allergic to something.
Yep.
So you could even put some markers out on things if you're really trying to be accommodating. But I agree, having those separate utensils, that is essential.
Right.
Yeah.
One of the things I do a lot of is cookie baking
Mm.
this time of year.
Yeah.
And
I
that is
love
a
these.
big part of what I do. But I've got family who's allergic to that
Yeah.
because
nuts and
they,
wheat.
no, it's not even that. She has an apple. She can't eat apples.
Really?
And a lot of cranberries have apple juice
Right.
when they preserve them. So it has to be being very careful about what you're doing and what your people eat. And when you're giving people cookies, making sure that those allergens are labeled
Absolutely.
on there. If you put peanuts in it or walnuts or
Mhm.
whatever. A lot of family gatherings, we set the table ahead of time. We always get the kids involved. We like everything to look beautiful. And, you know, I am very, very particular about don't touch the part I put in my mouth, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to set the table, did you wash your hands first? Are you sticking your fingers on the spoon? Are you handling the glasses this way? To just have those basic conversations. And it's hard, especially because you really want your little ones to help
Absolutely.
and learn how to set a table, but making sure that they've actually washed their hands
Mhm.
first so that great grandma doesn't pick up some nasty little bug that your 3-year-old is carrying around. That really is a big concern for these family gatherings that we're doing, is keeping them safe. And it can be quite a bit just to get family trained
Yeah.
on how to do stuff.
That's really what it is with kids, right? I mean, you want them to do it every year. So if you can train them now, hopefully next year or at the next holiday, they'll have a little bit better
Yeah.
understanding of how to handle it.
And we might need to train the cat too,
Yeah.
or lock them in a room so they're not in there. Or like we've all had those things where the dog ate the pumpkin pie,
Mm.
making sure that that sort of thing doesn't happen is an
Yeah.
issue, right? Did you find the ham on the floor and the dog was licking it? Then what happens? Yeah.
Yeah.
So keep your food safe. I'm Laura.
And I'm Jake. My oh my, we're ready for the holidays.
We are.
Well, they were playing
My oh my, you can find more of that on mymytv.com. Mymytv.com for more food safety with Jake and Laura, courtesy of the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association. We'll take a break. On the other side. We'll go from keeping your Thanksgiving meals clean to maybe keeping the conversation a little cleaner at the Thanksgiving dinner table when you're talking politics with your family. We'll talk politics instead in a much cleaner and friendlier way with Dave Dulio from Oakland University. Coming up next, you're watching and listening to the Megacast.
In the face of COVID-19, staying healthy is important. And now the same is true as we face the flu. Influenza has the potential to infect millions, putting lives and the healthcare system at risk. Fortunately, it's easy to protect yourself. The flu vaccine is safe and effective, and with COVID-19 still spreading, it's essential. To see how you can hit this virus head-on, visit michigan.gov/flu. Now that the vaccine is available for children 5 and up, why do you recommend it?
Kids are part of the community and they can spread COVID.
We're seeing both healthy children getting sick from the virus as well as children with underlying health conditions.
They can easily bring the virus home to other people that are vulnerable and make them sick as well.
This vaccine can change that and keep children safe.
It's essential that your children get vaccinated to protect them, to protect your families, and to protect those in the community around you.
There we go. Welcome back to the Megacast. I'm Tyler Keefe. You're watching our live TV, radio, and streaming show about all things Michigan. Learn more on our website, civiccentertv.com/megacast. You'll find information on all of our partnering stations across the Great Lakes State, including My Michigan TV. Joining us now on the Megacast is a professor of political science at Oakland University and also their director for the Center for Civic Engagement there as well. Dave Dulio joins us once again on the Megacast. Dave, thanks for being with us.
It's my pleasure. Good morning, Tyler.
Good morning to you as well. So we had a debate last week between Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Tudor Dixon. It was the first debate out of two. We got another one coming up next week. It'll be co-hosted by the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University. And coming out of that first debate, it was kind of surprising. We didn't really see so much of either of these candidates going on the offensive. It was really more about defending their stance and maybe even clarifying, in the case of Tudor Dixon, where she stands on critical issues, particularly abortion. Your key takeaways from the first debate?
I would say I had a couple immediate reactions, and then I think there's one worth talking about after we've had a chance to sort of let it sink in, if you will. And for me, the main takeaway was the tone. And I understand your point about going on the defensive or trying to be defensive, but in part that was brought about by the other candidate taking it to their opponent, right? I think Tudor Dixon was very aggressive, as I think we could all expect, given her place in the polls. But Governor Whitmer hit back, and it got pretty nasty. They called each other liars, or they questioned the truthfulness of their opponent at multiple times. I think they both used the term dangerous to refer to their opponent. So it was pretty nasty. And the other one for me was it's always tough to criticize the moderator because they're in a tough spot, but it was surprising to me that the economy didn't come up, inflation didn't come up until 45 minutes into the debate. That was just given that that's the number one issue again, right? It was number one months ago. Abortion supplanted it for the summer and the early fall, and now we're seeing polling that demonstrates the economy, inflation, gas prices is the top concern of folks in Michigan, and the one that I think we needed to let sink in a bit was, and I think we're seeing this in the polls, right? Is that the race is tightening. So from all accounts, Tudor Dixon helped herself quite a bit on in that debate last week, and I think that she's going to try to ride that momentum when we have the next one on the 25th.
Yeah, and it's interesting too because all three of these major races at the top of the ballot in the state of Michigan heading into the midterms are really tightening at this time. We've seen Governor Whitmer's numbers, which were well in the high teens in the polls, in many polls ahead of Tudor Dixon, now shrinking down anywhere I've seen from 6 points to an 11-point deficit at this time coming out of the first debate, with the next one being next week. And then we're also seeing these other races between Christina Caramo and incumbent Secretary of State Jocelyn Benson, as well as between Matthew DePerno and incumbent Attorney General Dana Nessel, also tightening. In particular, it's interesting, the Nessel versus DePerno battle, because that we're seeing, there was an interesting article from Dave Boucher at the Detroit Free Press about that today, actually. It just was posted a little while ago. Saying that multiple polls are showing that Matthew DePerno is now essentially neck and neck with Dana Nessel in that race, but also that a significant portion of the population that was polled hadn't heard of Matthew DePerno. So what is that? Where's that momentum coming from then?
Yeah, I think that that's certainly true that Mr. DePerno has less name recognition across Michigan, certainly than his opponent, and I think certainly than his campaign would like to have. Right? They're all tightening because Michigan is a competitive state. Michigan's a 50-50 state. Joe Biden won Michigan last time by 150,000 votes out of many millions cast. That's a really small margin. I think what we've seen, in the first part of the campaign season, when maybe all those statewide candidates had larger leads in polling, is some Republicans maybe not being convinced that they were going to vote for their party's nominees, or waiting to find out more about their party's nominees. But the tightening is Republicans coming home, right? Republicans are coalescing. Republicans are getting behind their nominees, and I think it's in part because the comparisons and contrasts with the Democrats' nominees are coming out, and I think the debate between Governor Whitmer and Mrs. Dixon is pointed and in terms of showing those contrasts, and that's what Republicans are reminded of, that hey, look, maybe I don't like Matt DePerno or Christina Caramo, and maybe they wouldn't have been my first choices, but you know what, I really don't want those Democrats in office. So I think that's an internal conversation that many Republicans are having in their own minds right now, and it was probably predictable had we taken an unemotional examination of it, months ago.
The next debate between Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Republican challenger Tudor Dixon will be October 25th. That's next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, 1 hour commercial-free broadcast locally where we originate our broadcast in the Detroit area on WXYZ Channel 7. It'll be moderated by Chuck Stokes from Channel 7, as well as WXMI or Fox 17 in Grand Rapids. They're Doug Reardon, and Fox 47 out of Lansing's L. Myers, and also will be simulcast on those stations locally in those areas as well. So all across the state of Michigan on the campus of Oakland University, and co-hosted with the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, Tuesday, October 25th at 7 p.m. And yes, that is the final gubernatorial debate of the season, Tuesday, October 25th at 7 p.m. at Oakland University. As we approach Election Day, only a little over a couple weeks away at this point in time, Dave, we're seeing that more political ads are coming out and being more frequently broadcast, and they're more frequently being negative. There's a lot of opinion on negative political ads and the effect that it has, or positively, and certainly negatively also, on the electorate. I, for one, am not a fan of negative political ads. I'd rather know about a candidate as an independent. What do you plan to do with certain issues, and how could that possibly solve some of these problems, than why your opponent is the worst thing that you've ever seen in your entire life. But from your perspective, teaching this to students in the political realm and political science, just how effective are political ads? Are they positive, or are they more negative?
Yeah, Tyler, it's a great question, and it's one that political scientists struggle with. the empirical evidence that exists is mixed. For every study that shows there's a negative effect from political advertising, and by negative I mean, maybe it drives down turnout, or it doesn't have much of an effect on how much information people gather or retain. There's another study that shows just the opposite, and it's one of those questions that as I said has puzzled political scientists, and we measure phenomena in politics as best we can, and sometimes it's just hard to do that. And I think that that's really the crux of the problem with those studies. But we can boil things down pretty plainly, and I would put it this way: that if they didn't work, campaigns wouldn't use them, right? So for me, that's enough explanation. We have tens of millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, that are being spent on TV ads in Michigan and across the country. Many of them are negative, and it's not a surprise that a couple of weeks out from Election Day, when absentee ballots are in the hands of voters and people are preparing to go to the polls, that things turn up in terms of negativity. I would expect that closer to Election Day, maybe the last 4 or 5 days, we start to see less negative ads and more positive ads as candidates try to remind people who they are and remind them that they're not just all negativity. But campaigns and other groups that spend money have limited resources, and they would not use those limited resources on a tactic that did not work. So for my money, negative ads absolutely work.
Oakland.edu/CCE for more information on events through the Center for Civic Engagement at Oakland University, who will be co-hosting this upcoming gubernatorial debate next week, Tuesday, October 25th, 7 p.m., 1 hour, commercial-free, broadcast in the Detroit area on WXYZ Channel 7, in the Grand Rapids area, WXMI Fox 17, and in the Lansing area, WSYM or Fox 47. And they will have moderators from each one of those stations: Chuck Stokes from Channel 7, Doug Reardon from Fox 17, and Elle Myers from Fox 47 will be moderating this debate at 7 o'clock at Oakland University next week, Tuesday. And Dave, as we talk about the negative ads or the attack ads and their impact on the electorate, especially as they go closer to Election Day, how do you believe that this time and that particular method of going after your candidates may translate to the second gubernatorial debate, given that it is so close in proximity to Election Day?
Well, I think you're going to see Tudor Dixon continue her aggressive posture against Governor Whitmer, right? Even though the race is likely tightening, she's probably still behind, and she needs to make up that ground. So she needs to continue to introduce herself to voters. I think it's and we should have talked about this at the top too, is that first debate with Wood TV over in Grand Rapids was not broadcast here in Southeast Michigan on TV, right? You could find it online, and all the major players streamed radio, it. But still, that it was not broadcast for people to see here in our part of the state, and that's unfortunate. So this might be the first time a lot of folks get to see and hear from the candidates directly, not through a filter of a TV ad or something like that, right? So I think it remains really important for Tudor Dixon to be aggressive and to try and take Governor Whitmer down a notch or two, because that's how she's going to win. And for Governor Whitmer, I think it was also a feature of her performance was that she talked a lot about bipartisanship, how she had signed 900 bills into law in her time so far, and that they're all bipartisan. Well, that's true, right? She has been dealing with a Republican legislature, so by definition, anything that comes out of there and that she signs is bipartisan. But she tried to feature that quite a bit. And I think that is tipping off her strategy for at least the first debate. And I would imagine the second one too, is that she's trying to reach those independent and persuadable voters, while Tudor Dixon might be still trying to shore up some of her base, at the same time attract enough of those independent and persuadable voters to put her over the top.
The next debate, of course, October 25th, next week, Tuesday, 7 p.m. at Oakland University, broadcast across the state on Fox 47 in the Lansing area, Fox 17 in Grand Rapids, and Channel 7 here in the Detroit area. It's co-hosted by the Center for Civic Engagement. It's also a big day that day for the Center for Civic Engagement, as it's a Civility Day during the day and maybe not so much at night with the candidates at 7 o'clock for that debate. Tell us about Civility Day and how people can get involved and join in on the more positive festivities earlier on that day.
Yeah, sure. Civility Day is a partnership with the Civility Project, and you had Nolan Finley and me on a few weeks ago to talk about it. It's Nolan Finley and Stephen Henderson, right? Nolan from the Detroit News, Stephen from WDET, and they have come together to start the Civility Project, which really is about their relationship as polar opposites in terms of politics, right? Yet two folks who maintain their principles and maintain a relationship, a good relationship at that, right? Where, and they talk about how they learn from each other when they talk about politics, and how they can argue on a TV program, but then go have a drink and talk about non-political things and be the best of friends, right? So Civility Day is going to bring not only them together, but we'll have Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, Congressman Fred Upton, folks from the religious community, because civility can be strained about more things than just politics, right? So what we'll do is have this broad discussion about civility in public life, and welcome anybody who wants to attend. They can go to oakland.edu/CCE and register. Program starts at 9 a.m. and goes through lunch. You'll have lunch provided for you, and it'll be a great day of discussion and conversation.
Yeah, October 25th, Civility Day. More information can be found on oakland.edu/CCE. And then the Center for Civic Engagement also co-hosting the second and final gubernatorial debate between Governor Gretchen Whitmer and Republican challenger Tudor Dixon, 7 o'clock, broadcast locally in the Detroit area on Channel 7, in Lansing on Fox 47, and in Grand Rapids on Fox 17. 1 hour commercial free beginning at 7 o'clock. Dave, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, Tyler.
Important time of the year for the electorate to get informed and ready for that election. And of course, that gubernatorial debate going to be a big one next week, Tuesday, 7 o'clock, broadcast in the local area. More information on Civility Day and the Oakland University Center for Civic Engagement can be found at oakland.edu/CCE. That is going to do it for this Wednesday edition of the Megacast. I want to thank all of our guests for joining us on today's edition of the program, as well as our friends at the Michigan Restaurant and Lodging Association for their helpful tips to keep your Thanksgiving table nice and safe this holiday season. Big thank you as well to our crew, Calvin Brown and Jared Clark at the studio of My Michigan TV, and our producer, Larry Nyland, for each and every one of these programs. That does it for the Wednesday edition of the Megacast. We'll return soon with a new episode.